Hello, good morning. Welcome to week 9. I have 3 movies to watch this week, and it's Friday, and I'm just starting them, so oops. Good news is I've seen these movies before, and I like 2 of them. Anyway, here's the lineup for this week. We're starting with Thor: The Dark World, and then Captain America: Winter Soldier, which, is my favorite Marvel movie of all time at the moment. We'll see if that changes. And then Guardians of the Galaxy, which I actually haven't rewatched in a really long time. So I'm kind of excited to rewatch that one. I do enjoy, at the very least, I enjoy the soundtrack. So the movie that I don't love of these 3 movies is Thor: Dark World. It's just not my favorite. I don't think it's that great, but I'm gonna watch it anyway. It is important. It sets up the Reality Stone? The Red Infinity Stone. This is what I'm watching today before work. This movie, the reason I do like it, no, the one thing I do like about it is that Darcy's in it quite a bit, I believe. And I love Darcy. I have read many a fan fiction about Darcy and Loki. Their ship name is Taser Tricks, which is so perfect. And it's a ship I could get behind. I know it'll never be canon in the MCU, and that's okay, but I enjoy reading the fics about it quite a bit. They're very fun. Anyway, yeah, let me stop yapping and let's watch the movie. I'm gonna do a really quick wrap up of this because I am gonna be late for work if I don't start getting ready soon. I gave Thor: The Dark World 2 stars. It has not gotten any better with time, in my opinion. It is like important to the plot of the MCU. Like I said, it introduces the Reality Stone. I think the red one, which I'm like 99% sure is the Reality Stone. And it does directly set up Guardians with the post credit scene, which I totally forgot about actually, because they give the Reality Stone to the Collector, and the Guardians also go to the Collector. It sets up his reputation, I guess. I just don't really like this movie. The best parts of this movie to me are Thor and Loki kind of rebuilding their relationship, but then, Loki pretends to die and takes over as Odin. So, not great. Yeah, the relationship between Thor and Loki starts developing more in this one, and then Darcy is in it a little bit more and Selvig is in it a little, but I really like that Darcy actually plays an important part for once, because Jane's off world. She's on Asgard with Thor for most of the movie, and Darcy kind of has to figure it out from there. Like, no, she doesn't do a bunch of science stuff. She's not a scientist. She was a political science major. But she does find Selvig, which allows them to defeat the Dark Elves at the end. So, it's a big deal. All I can think about watching this is how when I start Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. next week, there are going to be episodes in Greenwich post this movie because they go help with the cleanup. Honestly, pretty close to the beginning of the season, I think, because it's before all the Hydra stuff, which is at the end of the season, which is a nod to, not a nod to, but entwined with Captain America: The Winter Soldier, which is the next movie I'm watching. Hopefully, either when I get home from work tonight or tomorrow. But I'm gonna go get ready for work, so I'll check in with y'all when I watch Winter Soldier. That was the weirdest kiss I could have possibly blown. Hello. I'm not sure how this hairstyle translates on camera, but I did get compliments at work, so I don't care. So yeah, it's like 10:30 p.m. I just got home from work. But I decided, because I slacked this week. I slacked so hard this week. I'm going to watch Captain America: Winter Soldier tonight. It's like a 2-hour movie. It's an over 2-hour movie, but I figure why not? I love this movie. So, I'm gonna watch it. And then, yeah, don't be surprised if I have a ton of thoughts during this one because it is one of my favorite Marvel movies of all time. So let's watch Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Fucking love Sam Wilson. 2 seconds in, literally a minute in. I love Sam Wilson. I love the opening of this. Sorry, the lighting is horrible right now. You can probably barely see me. I just had to say I love the opening of this movie. It's one of my favorite Marvel opens. It's so good. It's so cute. It's so indicative of what their relationship is going to be like. I love it so much. Hi, hello. Hello. You may notice I'm in a different outfit than I was last night to when I started Winter Soldier. I did watch it last night. I took some notes on what I want to talk about. A lot of it is ranting about Steve and his trauma. So I might not actually talk about all of it, but I have a lot of thoughts on Steve Rogers, you guys. I have a lot of thoughts on him. And they're not like, I know I've said I'm in love with him, and I am, but like I have thoughts beyond that of who he is as a character. Anyway, so it's the next day because last night I simply did not feel like talking to a camera. I don't necessarily feel like doing it now either, but I know that I have to for this, and I have to film the week 8 outro. So apologies that I'll be in the same thing. Hopefully you don't notice. So let's talk about Captain America and the Winter Soldier. It is my favorite Marvel movie. I stand by that after watching it. Again, I'm not even halfway through. I'm so far from halfway through, but so far it's my favorite movie, I guess is what I should say. So, Captain America Winter Soldier, I gave it 5 stars. Shocker. And it is at the top of my Marvel movie list on Letterboxd. Currently, it's not the first one I've rated 5 stars. I rated Avengers 5 stars as well. That one's mostly for nostalgia, not necessarily because I think it's genuinely a good movie. I mean, it is a good movie, but you know what I mean. Captain America Winter Soldier has so many iconic scenes to me in it. That opening scene of Sam and Steve in DC, the on your left scene, it's such a good open. It's so quiet at first, and I feel like it really captures your attention. And then you see Steve talk to someone who, for the first time in a long time, it's a stranger talking to him as Steve Rogers, war veteran, not Captain America. And I wish that they went more into the struggles that I have to assume he has within himself of Captain America versus Steve Rogers and his public perception versus who he actually is, and the Steve Rogers persona or the Captain America persona. Like he is also he's just a guy. He's just a guy. He's a great guy, but he's just a guy. What are the other iconic scenes? The, Bucky, who the hell is Bucky? That scene, I feel like we talk about that quite a bit. The bridge fight in general, which is where that scene comes from, where that line comes from. That fight is so cool to me. I don't know why. It could just be because I adore Sam Wilson, which is part of why I love this movie so much. Every single protagonist in this movie I adore. We have Steve, who I've talked about. I will talk about him forever. We have Sam is introduced in this. Natasha is in this quite a bit, and I love Natasha. Even Nick Fury, Maria Hill. I love Maria Hill. And Sharon's not really a big part of this movie, but she also kind of is. And in this movie and in Civil War, I like her. I am on the fence about her in Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I want to see more of her. Like, I want to know what happens. I want to know where her story goes as Power Broker, but I don't know if we'll ever get that. One of the things that I really love about this movie is the friendship between Steve and Natasha. I know people ship them. I am not against that at all in the MCU. I know very little about the comics, so I don't know how I feel about them being shipped in the comics. I don't know if they are canon at all in the comics. I know there is a run where Natasha and Bucky end up together, or Natasha and the Winter Soldier. Because from what I've seen, people are saying that Bucky is a combination of two characters, James Buchanan Barnes, and then Steve's childhood best friend isn't actually Bucky. It's somebody else whose name I'm already forgetting. And that somebody else is I think one of the first canonically gay people in the Marvel comics. I could be wrong. I could be misremembering that. And I also did not double check it. I did not fact check this TikTok comment, so it could be wrong. But there was kind of a nod to that in Falcon and Winter Soldier. I feel like there's a nod to him possibly being bisexual, at least. I'm sure I'll pick it out when I rewatch it. But anyway, Natasha and Steve's friendship, whether or not they were planning for it to be romantic and it just didn't get there or not, I feel like they were, because it really felt like it. I also know that Chris Evans and Scarlett Johansson just have chemistry and have known each other for a very, very long time. So they just have chemistry. So, of course, their characters are going to have chemistry. Either way, the relationship that they're building, no matter what the end game was supposed to be for them, I think it is so nice. I feel like they see each other in a way that neither of them have that often, and they trust each other after the events of this movie, which Steve, I think, has a hard time trusting people in the modern day, especially with everything that he's been through. And of course, Natasha doesn't trust anybody. She's a spy. And I don't think she expects people to trust her either. She's still getting used to being trusted and maybe feeling worthy of that trust. We don't get a lot of insight into them. And that's why I want to read the comics, is because I am emotionally attached to these characters already. I would love more emotional insight into them. Sam Wilson, I just think, is one of the funniest realist characters in the entire MCU, because he's just this normal guy who happened to work on something cool when he was in the Air Force and had got wings, fake wings. And then he goes back to living a semi-normal life for a war veteran, helping other vets. And then one day Captain America just shows up on his run. And so Sam, being a people person, befriends him immediately and becomes somebody that Steve can go to for help, and does go to for help later. And then he's all of a sudden he's like a superhero. And it just kind of happens. And he draws this perfect line to me between fangirling over Steve as Captain America and seeing Steve as Steve. Seeing Steve for who he is and what he's been through. Their first conversation, Sam is like, it's the mattress, right? Feels like sleeping on a cloud or a marshmallow or whatever. And he just relates to him in a way that is very common among war veterans that Steve hasn't really gotten on camera at all. We haven't seen that on screen. And I think that's wonderful. But then when Steve and Natasha show up at Sam's house and Sam tells them about the wings, he goes, dude, Captain America needs my help. And I just love showing that. I don't know, something about it. Maybe it's just relatable. Like fangirling over somebody, but also just knowing that they're a person. Parasocial. It seems like in this movie there's a theme of Steve feeling lost, because Natasha says something about him looking pretty chipper for somebody who just almost got blown up when they're at Sam's. And Steve just goes, I like to know who I'm fighting, which to me is indicative of him feeling lost. And then you add to that the conversation that he had with Sam when he went to visit Sam at the VA. And that conversation is, I don't know what else I would do if I wasn't doing this. This is all I know. War is all I know. Fighting is all I know. And I wouldn't know what to do without it. And if you put those together, and it's very much just Steve feels lost and he doesn't know what to do with himself. And I think that's something that we see continue throughout his storyline. So I'll probably be coming back to that and revisiting that note in the future Captain America and Avengers movies, because Age of Ultron is coming up, I believe. I never finished going through my list of scenes that I think are iconic in this movie. The other scenes that I think are iconic in this movie are Sam's intro as Falcon on the rooftop. We see the wings when he gives them his resume, as he calls it, but you see him use them for the first time, and I wish we got a scene of them getting the wings. I know it would be like a 3-hour movie with that, but that's solid heist movie stuff, and I love a heist movie. But then when they're on the rooftop questioning Sitwell, Natasha throws Sitwell off the roof. Not throws, I think she kicks him off the roof. And then Sam catches him and brings him back up, and you get this dramatic shot of his shadow flying over the rooftop and then Sam landing. Now, do the wings look a little weird over plain clothes? Yes. Not gonna lie. But it's still a cool shot. It's still a nice intro, and I love it. I love Sam Wilson. I love Sam Wilson. I love Captain America, and that includes that Sam Wilson and Steve Rogers. I don't know why I just did that little dance. I love them both so much. I love Cap's Quartet, I think is what it's called, which, if they had any time together, would be Steve, Sam, Natasha, and Bucky. In the MCU, they don't have time together. I have to hope that they do in the comics somewhere, and if I ever get to reading them, hopefully I will see that. The last iconic scene that I had listed in my notes is the car chase, Nick Fury's car chase at the beginning-ish. I remember the first time I watched that, and I just thought it was so cool. And then he escapes using the mouse hole tool, mouse something tool thing, the thing that goes through the bottom of his car, or like the window or whatever, and then goes, like, he gets into the sewer system with it. I don't know how he and Maria Hill know where the other is when he couldn't get back in contact with her. He just said, I need you in DC deep shadow conditions. You have 3 hours. So they probably just have a rendezvous point or something for stuff like this, but I don't know. The dynamics between Steve, Natasha, and Sam are also just so fun. I really do wish that we got to see more of them interacting. Also on the rooftop is a Stephen Strange mention, and this is before Doctor Strange comes out, and it's probably before Stephen Strange is Doctor Strange, I would assume, because the movie isn't out yet. And I think it's a little bit before the movie comes out, but they were also probably setting it up. They already had it planned, I'm sure. But when Sitwell is talking about Project Insight and the targets, he lists a bunch of people, including Tony Stark, I think, and Bruce Banner for sure, and Stephen Strange. So that's fun. I like it when they do little things like that, because the first time I watched it, I definitely didn't understand that, and now watching it, I'm like, oh yeah, I know that guy. So Bucky and Sam obviously don't get along at first, and I think it's really funny to look at their relationship in the later movies and shows. Obviously, Falcon and Winter Soldier is kind of about them learning to work together, and then in Brave New World, they're like supporting each other. Bucky tells Sam that he loves him. I think it's really funny to look at their relationship and how it grows when the way that they meet unofficially, as you know, when Bucky is Winter Soldier and he pulls Sitwell out of Sam's car and throws him into traffic and then shoots at them. And then maybe this is it before. I don't know the exact chain of events. The first thing he does is grab Jasper Sitwell and throw him into traffic. And he shoots at them and he takes the steering wheel out of Sam's car. He just rips it out of Sam's car while Sam is trying to drive. Just rips it right out of his hands. I think that's so funny. I made a note to talk about Bucky's theme song because it becomes important. I promise you it becomes important in Thunderbolts. Bucky's theme song, while he is still under the Winter Soldier's control, and which he is this entirety of this movie until like the last minute, in which he saves Steve and leaves. And his theme song is very like kind of scary, has like screams in the background, very intense. Cool as hell. It's a great theme song for a villain. They end up changing it in Thunderbolts when he is, as far as we know, completely free of his trigger words to become the Winter Soldier. One of my favorite lines, and a line that I think is very indicative of Steve and Bucky's friendship back in the day, is after Steve's mom dies. They come back from the funeral and they're talking. And first of all, Steve can't find his keys, and Bucky knows. He knows that that's what's happening. And he's asking Steve if he wants to like come over, spend the night, maybe live with them. I don't know, but at least spend the night is what they're talking about. Like we can set up the couch cushions in the living room like we used to, whatever. And all while this is happening, Steve is looking for his keys and Bucky is pulling out the spare key from underneath like a rock or a planter or whatever. And Steve goes, I can get by on my own. And Bucky goes, thing is, you don't have to. And I think that's more indicative of their friendship than the till the end of the line phrase that they throw around all the time. Not that till the end of the line is a bad thing. It's cute. I like it. I like that that's like their thing. I understand why having that be their phrase and then having Bucky die and Steve feels like die and but not actually be dead, and then Steve feels like he is responsible for that and like he should have saved him because he's supposed to be with him till the end of the line. I understand why that works so well and why that kind of like pulls at you, but I get more emotional thinking about that scene right after Steve's mom's funeral than any other Bucky Steve scene. I made my friend watch this with me probably over a month ago, and definitely over a month ago. It was like a few months ago. She's never watched Marvel movies. She's watched like a couple, but she has never like sat down and watched the Marvel movies, so she only kind of knows what's happening. I made her watch this one with me because I was like, it's my favorite. It has all these people in it. I love it. It's like a spy movie, whereas some of them are more like war movies, and I love a spy movie, and I think she does too. So we watched it. One of the things that she noticed that I just never really noticed is the fashion is kind of so weird. And I think I never noticed because I know it's 2014 in this movie because I went to see it in theaters in 2014. So like I link it to 2014 immediately, but if you look at it, even for 2014 fashion, it's like kind of a little, why are they all wearing layers? Why is Natasha wearing like wedge sneakers? It is kind of weird, but it's fun. It's like, it's a funny thing. It's not a horrible thing. And then I have two quotes from Sam that I think are not funny. One of them's funny. One of them's just fun. The very last, well, not the very last thing. When Nick Fury is leaving them at his grave, he asks Sam to come with him to track down Hydra. And Sam says, I'm more of a soldier than a spy. And the reason that I think that is funny is because at the beginning of Brave New World, they tell him to go in like quietly or something. And he makes some little quip and he's like, man, are you new here? Or something like that. And that's just really funny. And he's always been that way. 10 years, always been more of a soldier than a spy. And then the other line, and I just think this one is so funny, when he is fighting Rumlow in that like final fight at the Triskelion. Rumlow is like going on about Hydra and how they grow new heads and blah blah blah, whatever. And Sam, who had just been like knocked down to the floor, is kind of like getting up, and he just goes, "Man, shut the hell up." And I laugh at it every time. It's not even that funny. It's just the timing of it and the way that he says it, which I cannot emulate. The way that he says it is so funny to me. And I think I just really like him. And that's a big part of it. But that is it for Winter Soldier. So the only thing that I have left to watch this week is Guardians of the Galaxy. Now it is 6 p.m. on Saturday. So I have to watch it today. So I'll see you in a few hours, because I don't feel like watching it right now. I have other things I want to do right now, and I'm watching Knives Out. But I'll watch Guardians of the Galaxy in a little way. Hello. And welcome to the last day of week 9. Technically, it is the first day of week 10. But I'm watching the Guardians of the Galaxy. I hadn't watched it yet. Yesterday I just did not feel like watching it. Today, I'm going to a concert tonight. Again, more concerts. So I'm going to watch Guardians of the Galaxy whilst I am getting ready for said concert. I might not have time to talk about it after the concert, or before I go to the concert, so I might have to do what I did with Winter Soldier and just like take notes about what I want to say about it and then check in with y'all after. But we'll see. We'll see. For now, I did not do this on purpose, but I am wearing my Epcot sweatshirt. I like, it was on top when I went to grab stuff to change into after I showered. And if you don't understand the significance of that, Epcot is where the Guardians of the Galaxy ride Cosmic Rewind is in Disney World. So that's why it's funny that I'm wearing it to watch Guardians. I was there for opening weekend of that ride, but I've never gone on it because I get motion sick. Epcot is also where Awesome Mix Live was, which was a show that featured the songs from Guardians. Only the first one had come out at the time. This was in 2018. I don't think the second one was out yet. Maybe it was. I don't know. But summer 2018, they did a show called Volume Mix Live, and it featured the soundtrack from Guardians of the Galaxy, as well as a few other songs that I'm not sure were in it, but are of the time, of the vibe. Star-Lord and Gamora would be in it. And it was just really fun. It was really, really fun. And it kind of introduced the concept of Epcot being like a connection for communication with Nova Corps, which is, I believe, continued in the actual ride that they built that replaced Ellen's Energy Adventure. Anyway, let's watch Guardians of the Galaxy. Hello. I'm sorry if sorry if this video is shaky. I didn't put it on a tripod. I just got home from the concert I told y'all I was going to, and I didn't even get to finish Guardians before I left, but I got to the end credits. I just didn't get to the post-credit scene. Honestly, I don't have that many thoughts about Guardians of the Galaxy. I like the movie. It has one of the best soundtracks in the MCU, obviously. Yeah, no, not many thoughts. I like the found family aspect of it, but I like that aspect of the Avengers as well, although it's much less found family as the Avengers. It's very, very, very prevalent in Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, they are a family. The Avengers, it's like they're not as close knit. Yeah, I just don't have that much to say about it. And it's not because I'm tired or because I just go home or anything. I just like don't. I enjoy the movie. I don't have a ton to say about it. Oh, you know what I do have to say about it? I didn't know who Lee Pace was until recently, but he has been in some content that I've seen on TikTok and Instagram lately because he's going to be in The Running Man, which is a movie, and Glenn Powell is starring in the movie, and I love Glenn Powell and I follow him on everything. So I have seen him posting stuff, and he posted some stuff with Lee Pace, and I saw Lee Pace and I was like, that is a tall man. Apparently he is in Guardians of the Galaxy. He plays Ronan. So that's fun. I love seeing Sean Gunn in things. I'm sorry, this camera is probably so shaky. I love seeing Sean Gunn in things because I love Kirk from Guardians of the Galaxy. Also, I'm so sorry that you can see my soda can graveyard behind me. Yeah, so I'm gonna just leave you there for now. I do have to do a wrap up. I have to go over the data for this, but I need to see the data for this. So I need to like update the spreadsheet and stuff. So I'll do that later. That is it. Hello, so it's about 2 hours after I filmed that getting home thing and talking about Guardians thing. I have the data in front of me. I have the stats in front of me on my computer, and we're going to go over them real quick. The phase 0 and phase 1 stats haven't changed, obviously. The phase 2 stats look like this now. I have watched 52% of the projects, but only 19% of the runtime thus far. And my average rating is a 3.4. It's gone up a little since we last checked in on it. And then as far as the total, I have watched 30% of the projects, but only 15% of the runtime, and our average rating currently is sitting at a 3.1 stars, being brought down quite a bit by that phase 0 rating of 2.9 overall. But phase 1 is at 3.3 overall. So phase 2 so far is higher. It's going to be hard because starting in week 10 this week, this coming week, I just started watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. actually. And starting with this season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., starting in week 10, the next video that y'all will see, I have to rate TV shows, and they're a little bit harder to rate season by season, I think, in my opinion. It's harder to rate an entire season, you know? But I'm going to do it anyway, and we will just have to see how that goes. So that is it for week 9. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what your favorite movie I watched this week was. If it's not Captain America Winter Soldier, it's probably Guardians of the Galaxy, because if your favorite is Thor the Dark World, I'm worried about you. But also tell me why. Tell me why. I can maybe you'll change my opinion about it. Maybe you'll make me realize things about it that I haven't realized before. It's possible. People can change their minds. That is it for season 9. Season 9. That is it for week 9, you guys. Thank y'all so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Love you. Bye.